Hi everyone, welcome to Q&A Immigration Law Live with immigration attorney John Khosravi. That's me. It's May 15th, 2020. And today we're going to talk about, as we do every weekday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, we're going to talk about U.S. immigration law. And you could join in and ask a general question that you may have. To the extent that we could answer these kind of questions in a public forum, we're going to jump to it and do my best to kind of help you and guide you as to what direction things are going. To the extent I can. Again, this is just educational, general stuff only. You may need a private consultation where you talk with a lawyer in private and you have a conversation with them so they can look at your whole case, your paperwork, and get kind of the secrets of your case, some things you can't talk about in public because it's legal stuff. My email is info@jqqlaw.com if you want to email me to schedule a time. But if you're on TikTok, it's Immigration Lawyer John, John, and my rest of my social media is under my firm's name, JQK Law Firm. So Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube. We have a recording of this on YouTube with clips, and Instagram. I post approval notices that have examples of timelines of how long my cases took. They're all there for you to help you out. Just let me know, Jitan, I'm doing well. Glad for joining again. Good to hear from you. As people start trickling in, we'll have some questions starting. But just to let you know, again, the people ask me a lot, is immigration stopped? No, it's not stopped. Things are working. I'm still getting approvals. I'm still sending stuff into the government. It's just interviews aren't happening. So cases that require interviews, those are the ones that are stalled after the interview stage. So, that's just the way things go. You have to be patient and keep things moving. It is what it is. Hopefully this coronavirus situation gets better soon so we just move on and not have to deal with this kind of stuff and live our lives. But who knows how long that's going to last. And so the inevitable question I'm going to get about 15 times in this Q&A is, how long does this take? How long does that take? I don't know, because I don't know how long the coronavirus is going to take. So whenever you have a conclusion to that, we'll probably have a conclusion to your case soon after, because they'll be reopening the government facilities, people going back to work, and they could restart their lives and all of that. But thank you all for jumping in and joining. We're getting the group trickling in. The cases are handling right now are K-1 fiance visas. I'm doing marriage visas. I got a green card in the mail today. User 506, hi to you too. For those work visas, now everyone knows about, there's things called the intercompany transfer, L1 intercompany transfer, doing those as well. And those are going well. It's a hassle doing them. It's a lot of paperwork. Where's the file? I got it. It's right next to me. Well, it's over there, but it's like this thick. It's a lot of work to do them because the government is so strict on these visa categories that it just becomes a headache just to deal with it, because so much paperwork, and then they're going to come back and say you didn't submit something when we did. It's just lost in the hundreds of pages. It's hard for them to find it because they ask for so many documents. So what are you going to do? Another question that popped up from someone earlier is, if you already done a fiance visa case and didn't work out, can you submit a new one? Well, it's iffy right there, because you can't just keep popping up and become a multiple filer for K-1 fiance visas. There might be a time you have to wait, or else request a waiver or try to overcome the doubt that they may have that you're filing a fiance visa case soon after another one. But that's some interesting stuff going on. Alvarez, thanks for joining. User 3900, Vino, Strawberry 421, Enrique, thanks for joining. Let's see, what other questions that pop up? So I'm dealing with cases at consular processing. So when you have a marriage case, or really a family-based case, or even employment, once you get the initial part done that they know the relationship or the work is correct, then the case eventually, if the foreign person is overseas, they have to do consular processing. And so we're getting notified by what's called the National Visa Center for that kind of stuff, and they're still uploading documents. You just got to be prepared. Sangra asks, SBA loan effect or status. It depends on what your status is. There's way too many unknowns in your question, so I wouldn't be able to answer that here. That's something you should consult with a lawyer in private, because it affects your business as well. So when you deal with consular processing, hi Vino to you too, you have to be prepared, because they're going to ask for what's called police certificates from various countries you lived in to know that your background's good. They're going to ask for military records. And a lot of these documents people don't have on hand, and they have to request them, but because all over the world things are shut down, it's harder to get them. It's going to take longer. And so I have clients right now who are starting to get those, but they're hitting walls because they do fingerprints, but the fingerprinting place isn't open. Or this other office that didn't do a medical checkup first, that's not open. So there's all this kind of stuff popping up. MRK asks, have you heard that CPT are going to so there's a thing called OPT, optional practical training. This is when someone studying in the United States on a student visa and some other types of visas too, but really a student visa, and they get it some time after graduating to you know, practice what they learn at a job in the United States before they leave. It's called OPT, optional practical training. The people that don't like immigration in the US government, they really want to get rid of this program. President Trump is inclined to do so. Now, whether he's going to get rid of it or not, we don't know until he does it or says something. I don't know. But there's a lot of people that want to get rid of it. So if you are on a student visa, you know, that's something that might worry you, because you're expecting to get a year time, and then maybe after that file for an H-1B visa or start a business or something like that. Right now it's up in the air how they're going to treat OPT, so we'll see what happens. Jitan asks, I'm still waiting for my 10-year green card. Sorry, you gotta wait. US user 504 asks, are embassies still working on cases that are undergoing administrative processing? I don't know the internal details of what they're doing or not doing, but if your administrative processing is going a little too long, you may want to just file a lawsuit in federal court for that delay. One problem is that they may or may not issue the visa. We don't know, but I don't know the internal processing of the embassies, if they're doing it or not. They haven't told me, or I probably haven't told anybody. It's some internal stuff, because there's a lot of different employees that are involved with that. Some agencies might be shut down, so we don't know. Fahmi Fahim asks, I'm in Spain and I'm waiting for my interview date. Well, wait and some more, because these embassies are closed down. There's people backed up right now. So you're just going to have to wait your turn, unfortunately. When that happens, it happens, and hopefully your interview goes well. Just make sure you have your updated documents, updated financial documents, everything ready to go to deal with it. And maybe have a form DS-5540 completed. Talk with your immigration lawyer if you have one about that. Sania Owan asks, what happens if they forget to attach a copy of the RFE forms? What happens if I forget to attach a copy of RFE forms they send me with my response? So when the government is missing a document, really USCIS, what they do is they mail you a request for evidence, which is a couple of sheets that explain what they're missing. When you respond for that request for evidence, you're supposed to include a copy of that request the government gave you. So the top of the response that you give the government should be their letter that said what was missing. They could deny a case if they didn't have that. It's going to be up to the officer, their discretion, but they need the info on that sheet to be able to find your case, first of all, and secondly, it is something that's, you know, they could deny. It's really, that's all I could tell you. Maybe resend it again with that copy, I don't know, or call them up and let them know the situation. Do whatever you can to try to make the best of it, but unfortunately they have a lot of discretion to do what they want to do, and it depends on what kind of case it is as well. User 544, you're welcome. Mintusabi, are they processing cases in the US? Yes, I just talked about this earlier. They are processing cases in the United States, and so that's that. PJ asks, what would be the easier path? We have 2 kids together, fiance or spouse visa if we get married. I don't know. I needed to talk with you and your fiance and learn about what your life situation is, what works best for you. Easier is a relative term, you know. So fiance visas could be a little bit faster for you to get back together in the U.S. That may be important for you. Or at the other end is more government interaction, so it gets a little more expensive. Or you just wait a little bit longer, it's a little bit less expensive. Maybe your spouse, if you get married, once your spouse comes here, they can immediately start working because they have a green card, fiance visa, they can't start working. So that becomes a factor too. So there's a lot of personal things I need to know about what your goals are, what your family's goals are, all these different kind of things for me to be able to answer something strategically like the way you're asking. You know, it's your life. You know, you can't just toss a coin and say, oh, do this or do that. I gotta get to know you. You gotta see what's going on, so you get good advice that makes sense with your family and your situation. Simon Nassim asks, how long after you can apply for U.S. citizenship? Your question doesn't make sense. Simon, you might be asking how long after you get a green card can you file for citizenship? Typically, in most cases, at a minimum, you have to have a green card for 4 years and 9 months, almost 5 years. But there's a lot of other factors that we have to analyze to see if U.S. citizenship is appropriate for that. Mintisab asks, what is prima facie? So, you're misspelling it, but in legal terms, prima facie is you know, the underlying thing that you need to show to reach a conclusion. I believe that's it. It's been a while since I was in law school. So if someone has a prima facie case, like they show the exact things that needed to prove something like that. I think that's what it was. Maybe type in a Google, you get a better answer. I teach in law school. I teach immigration law. Prima facie, I think, was in con law maybe or something like that. We would read constitutional law or maybe criminal law or something we would go over. I think that's criminal law. Fam asks, The National Visa Center send me mail. The embassy will schedule a date. Yeah, so then when you're doing consular processing, the National Visa Center will send you a letter. You pay their fee, start uploading documents, then they let you know if you submit everything is correct. Then you wait for another email from the National Visa Center that's going to say when your time is with the embassy. Then you got to register at the embassy. All these extra steps that are involved, but you have to wait. Love, my brother in his mantle sick his parents. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Simon asks, how long can you apply for U.S. citizenship? I'm married to U.S. Citizen. Okay, if you're married to and have been married and living with a U.S. citizen since you got your green card, you can potentially file as soon as 2 years and 9 months after getting a green card. But it depends on if you satisfy all the requirements. There's more to it, but that's the basic kind of thing. You're welcome, PJ. Loveless is my brother-in-law is not green card. I'm sure he's not a green card. You got to ask these questions much better so I can understand what you're talking about. Mentusab, you're welcome. Loveless, can he finish case in America? I don't know, Lovely. Your brother-in-law needs to schedule a consultation. Annan asks, I'm waiting for my biometrics when USCIS starts sending biometrics notice. So what happened is for people doing their case in the United States that require fingerprints or biometrics, they shut the biometrics appointments down because of the coronavirus. Now, Anna asked, when they reopen everything in July 4th, which is when USCIS said they're reopening interviews and biometrics, what's going to happen? Well, I don't know. Whenever they get to you, their system will create a biometrics notice and mail that to you. That's as much as I can tell you. This is something internal that they'll do when it's your turn. You just have to be patient. If you already had biometrics, have you done it recently in the past with USCIS, they may just use those again so you don't have to go do another appointment, but it just depends on your past immigration history. Natalie Patino asks, my mother submitted a visa application for residency for her sisters in 2010 and still no response. I have to see her case. I got to see what's going on. It could be normal. I don't know. That's something I got to see her receipt notice. You should probably go to uscis.gov and put in her receipt number to see if they issued an approval on those I-130s. If so, where it is. Make sure she updated her address with USCIS. If she moved, she might have missed some paperwork. So there's a lot of things going on. You could check yourself, or you could schedule a consultation in my office so I could look more into it for you. You're welcome, Simon. Fami, how long I've been waiting to wait all documents are approved? I don't know, Fami. I have no idea how long. Sonia, how are you? I'm doing good. Thank you so much for your excellent work. Thank you, Sonia. It's very nice of you. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for joining and watching. If you haven't already on TikTok, please press the follow button. On TikTok, it's really important to do these regular videos and 1-minute stuff. I enjoy doing live videos much more, which is not rewarded by TikTok. So although I have 10,000 plus followers on TikTok, I don't get any more because I don't feel like doing the 1 minute, dancing and singing and all that kind of stuff. So if you are doing this, please continue joining. As long as we have a lively group here, all these questions that come, I'd be happy to continue doing these live shows. I like answering your questions. Follow and get your friends to follow so I know there's things going on there, or else if it dies down, it'll stop. We got a good group right now. We're asking some good questions. Simon, thank you so much for sending the love. Thank you. Appreciate that. TikTok's fun, but I'm not too much of a social media person. I'm going on my phone and recording myself. Live is good because I just sit and talk with the phone. I don't have to go and edit and add captions and all that kind of stuff. I'm an old school kind of guy when it comes to this stuff. So again, this stuff's going to be on YouTube, this video. If you didn't catch something, you can watch more in the clips too on YouTube, JQK Law Firm, and do that. Sonny asks, sir, how long USCIS take to give decision after sending an RFE? So if they request for evidence, you send it back, how long does USCIS take? There's no answer to that. It takes however long they want to take. Faith asks, they had a tourist visa, they filed the extension due to COVID, and their status expires in 30 days. Is receipt enough to stay? Yeah, well, if you have a tourist visa and you request an extension before your current visa status expires, you generally could stay here until you get a decision. Now, the immigration authorities have the right to come and pick you up if they wanted to, but their policy is not to unless you get a criminal issue or something like that. But once a decision is made, if it's a denial, you have to leave pretty quickly after that. Immediately have to leave. So be prepared for that. But while a case is pending, generally their policy is to let you stay until a decision is made. And with tourist visa extensions, B2 extensions, sometimes it could be a few months, sometimes it could be a lot of months before they make a decision on that. Gati Ibrahim asks, my mom got an approval for a green card. My lawyer told me to send the medical exam. Is that a good... Well, she's not approved for the green card yet if they haven't got the medical exam. So what happens is they'll send you a letter to request the medical exam. You send it to them. Most likely, it's going to be fine. Parents of green card holder cases don't usually require interview. I'm not into telling you if something's good or not. It's just I have to see the facts and tell you what the facts are. So until I see exactly what's going on with your mom's case, I can't really advise on that. But if you have a lawyer, I defer to their judgment. They probably should know what they're talking about, and just wait for a response. But I don't know all the facts to be able to give you advice and specific advice like that. Any news on Visa Bulletin and dates? The Visa Bulletin is the publication the State Department gives out every month that says what the lines for green cards and visas for immigrant visas are looking. These are visas for work or for a green card lottery or for family-based cases where someone gets a green card. Any news? No, I mean, whenever they issue it, you could go to the Department of State Visa Bulletin, search that and see what the new days are, how things are moving forward. Because of the coronavirus, they're giving out very few employment-based green cards and just family green cards. So what you're going to see is there's going to be a slowdown in the number and how quickly the line is moving for green cards, because we need to, clear out the line for new people to come in, but the line is kind of stalled and it's not moving forward for most cases. And so what you're going to see is a lot of people this year who could have got their green cards are not going to get it. It's going to go to next year, and the line is just going to get longer and longer. The coronavirus is going to have dire consequences for a lot of people, especially from India or China, where we already have backlogs. It's going to be really nasty. Simon asks, what is a good advice for filing a removal of conditions on green card, because I'm planning to file myself? Well, be very thorough. Have all your documents in order. What I find is when people file the removal of conditions application on their own, this is when they're married and they got a 2-year green card and need to file an extension, they do a really messy job. It has to be organized, have a table of contents, have all the documents you need, have your driver's license showing the same address, have all the tax returns that have you as joint filing. If you're going to have credit cards or bank statements, print out 24 months worth of bank statements, 24 months worth of credit cards. If you have car insurance, print out all the car insurance receipts that are joint for the last 2 years. So it's a lot of paperwork. Just be thorough and clean, and if you move around, make sure to say what your addresses were, proper timelines. The main thing I've found when people do it on their own is they're not very thorough or clean, so it's unorganized. It's hard for the officer to figure out what's going on with the application, and it's not full. They send out some stuff thinking, oh, that's enough. Like I have a case right now, a guy's doing a fiance visa, and for a fiance visa we have to show that they met each other once in the last 2 years. And so he just gave us some photos when he went on vacation with his fiance. He's like, we'll use these, and the photos have timestamps on there. That's not enough. With Photoshop, anyone could put timestamps. So we need plain receipts, passport stamps, and I've been fighting with them for over 2 years now about this. And he's like, no, that's enough. And I'm like, it's not enough, So a lot of people think it's just like an easygoing thing with the immigration office. Not at all. It's very complicated, and it can be very annoying with how much documentation you want. So you have to be very thorough, and that's the thing. And also file the within the window. So you have a 90-day window to file the removal of conditions. Make sure to file within that period, because if you do it too soon or too after, they could deny it and send the case back to you, and you have to go to immigration court. So those are some words of advice I have if you're planning to file a removal of condition I-751 on your own. Ali Raza asks, what about the canceled interviews that were scheduled for naturalization? He wrote neutralization. Or naturalization. You're welcome, Simon. You just gotta wait to them to reschedule. That's what it's about. So in not seeing people right now, they're afraid to see people in person right now. Whenever that situation opens up again, you'll get a letter in the mail that says, show up to their interview date at this date. You go, you do your interview, hopefully you do a good job, and then hopefully approved, and hopefully an oath ceremony with a naturalization certificate. That's as much as I can tell you. That's what it's about. All right, so Moj asks, what about N400 time interview? I'm not sure what that means, N400 time interview, but what about it? I don't know. And no problem, you don't need to apologize. It was just funny. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Faith asks, is N400 filing online faster than a paper app? I don't know. A couple years ago, they did a survey internally. This was like 3 years ago, and they said no. But I don't know what the rules are now. I personally don't like filing things online with USCIS. I don't trust their online systems too much, so I would do a paper. But a lot of people, most people are making the switch and doing online. I have a colleague I was doing an interview with. I have an interview show for immigration lawyers, and she was telling me that she files everything online. And I was like, well, that's another way to do it. I don't like the way their online system is set up. There's a lot of glitches that could be problematic for me, but that's up to you. And then Moj follows up with, how long does it take to have an interview after filing 400? I don't know. It just depends on a lot of different things. I have a lot of videos because people ask me this question about 15 times a day. If you go to my YouTube page, JQK Law Firm, I explain this in detail I'll probably leave it at that. Just join and subscribe to the JQK Law Firm YouTube page, and you can get this answer and watch it on repeat, because I asked this question so much I can't even answer it anymore. But thank you. I understand your worries and why you asked. It's just I can't keep answering these questions about timelines. Elevator guy asks, if an embassy is open, are they allowing those to take up all visas, or they spread numbers around? It doesn't work that way, because every country has a limitation how many visas they can use up, so they can't just take up all the visas. But they can't do that many interviews to take up a lot, so I wouldn't even worry about that kind of stuff. You're welcome, Moji. Mohan Trisha asks, hi, how are you? I'm good. I applied for my husband with a green card. Suddenly, SEAC changed my visa category to FX1. Yeah, FX1 is the category, I think, for a spouse of a green card holder, so that's appropriate. I don't know, there's different names they use and codes they use for the type of green card it is. Sometimes it's FX1, sometimes it's some other category too, but FX1, it should be appropriate for a spouse of a green card holder. Moji, you're welcome. Have a great weekend to you as well. The weekend is coming, so this is the last live for this week until next week. March follows up before it's F2A. So you're looking at different things. So if you're a green card holder filing for your spouse, that is the F2A family-based second family-based A category in the visa bulletin, but that's not the green card code that your case is going to get. The green card code is going to be FX1. Those are different kinds of things to look at. Okay, so Ali Reza asks, what's the maximum age for siblings to get visa with parents? 20, well, it depends. It doesn't work that way. So for example, I'm a US citizen, I apply for my parents. I can only apply for my mom and my dad separately, individually. The children don't come on that. But if I'm going to apply for my brother or sister, let's say I have a brother, I apply for the brother, he gets the green card. His children under 21 could get it, but there's also a thing called the Child Status Protection, that's CISPA, which could allow the kids, even if they're older 21, to potentially get the green card as well. That's complicated enough where I don't want to get into it here. I have a video on this on my YouTube page where I explain it. But if you want to get into Child Status Protection, like CISPA, because you're afraid a child's aging out, go over 21, then schedule a consultation in my office, and we can analyze the case appropriately. It's too complicated to get into here, so I'm not going to do it, but yeah. Basra asks, a friend, his wife passed away, can he get a green card? Maybe. It depends on how soon they do it. So if you're married to, I know a citizen, if you file in 2 years, you get it. They should probably just consult with an immigration attorney to see what's going on with their case, the nuances of that. It's a Form I-360 that you probably need to apply for, but I need to review the case and follow up and remember the details of that. It's not too often that you get someone whose spouse died to get a green card. I have a case where unfortunately a spouse has cancer, and they say only has a couple months left to live, and I don't know if we're going to get the green card case done in time. So once he passes, he's a U.S. citizen, the spouse will be able to get a green card by submitting Form I-360. So I know that case did the recent works out, but I can't remember if a green card holder has the same rules apply. Probably it does, but I'd have to look into that. Just have him email my office, schedule a consultation. Malmart asks, how long is the processing to petition my 18-year-old child? I don't know. Just consult my office and we could sit and break down things and get some general estimates, but I don't give timelines here. Try going to uscis.gov and you get some information on that site for case processing. Natalie asks, where can I find the receipt number to check on USCIS number I-130 petition? So when you submit something to the USCIS, they give you a piece of paper receipt. On the top left is a receipt number. It starts with 3 initials, MSC, IOE, different letters. You get that letter and you go to uscis.gov and then there's check case status or something like that. You plug in that receipt number and it may give you the information. It's not always consistent, so to be prepared for that. You're welcome, Bass. I appreciate that. Sunny asks, can I apply for a 2-year green card from 2 different cases? Can I apply 2 green cards for 2 different cases? Eventually, they'll give you one. So let's say you have an employee case where you have an employer, someone that hired you and wants to file for a green card, but then you also get married and want to file a green card. You can have both cases pending, but eventually one's going to get approved. Now, we got to be careful. Some officers don't understand they could have 2 cases pending, so they may force you to cancel one case before you approve another. So this kind of thing where you need to have an attorney watching over it to make sure it's good, to avoid or deal with officers if they say stuff like that. Kyra asked, marriage interview in Sacramento? What's the question? I don't understand your question. Family asks again, is mandatory for my interview in Spain? So they said DS 5540, this is a public charge form for people filing for the green card from the embassy. They have said it's mandatory, But between the time that the public charge rule came into place on February 24th, up until they shut down the interviews, most of my colleagues say they did not ask for it, even though it was a requirement. But by this point, probably they will. So the safe thing is to have it at least prepared with you. So if you go there and they ask for it, you have it to hand in instead of saying, oh, go home, fill it out, and come back and causing more delay. Why not have it ready to give to them in case they ask for it? So, download Form DS-5540, complete it well, have the paperwork and documentation to support it, just to be safe. It's not about being in Spain. It just depends on the officer and how far into it they've gone. All right, so thank you for joining. This was a great conversation. Good questions, not the same questions, a lot of different kind of questions that are helpful, that I appreciate. Zach states, any special green card available now due to COVID-19 for nurses? Not any particular. There already is a special green card option for nurses because there is a shortage of nurses in the United States. If you pass all the tests, this and that, there's a faster, less difficult way if you find a job as a nurse in the U.S. to get a green card. But if if you're a nurse and you found a job in the United States, your employer, which is probably a hospital or something like that, they'll have a lawyer, immigration lawyer that could help you through that process. Thank you, user59. He says, best dressed lawyer in the United States. Thank you so much. This is my blue suit. I've been wearing it for the last couple weeks. I don't want to keep thinking about what to wear for these, but I think I might switch it up the next couple days and have another suit for like a week or two and then keep it consistent like that. It just makes it easier to make a decision of what to wear when I come to these things. So I'm more focused on just talking and providing good information as opposed to what I'm wearing. I learned this trick from, the presidents always wear the same suit, or Steve Jobs always wears the same turtleneck kind of thing. Kyra asks, I applied for my I-485 as a green card based on marriage and had my fingerprint done in February, but no updates since then. Yeah, Kyra, they've shut down the interview, so you gotta wait for them to schedule an interview. Okay, user 59 asks, as long as you're rocking it, my man, thank you. Family asks, do you have any idea that I will be in US in June? I don't know. These questions, come on, I'm not gonna guess that. I don't know, I have no idea. That's not up to me. It's up to a lot of other people, but not up to me. If you have an immigration lawyer, talk with them to give better advice. Probably not. Very unlikely that you'll be here in June, but you never know. It's not up to me to make that decision. I don't know your whole case. But thanks for asking anyways. Okay, so we're about to reach the end of the half-hour mark. If you all have some last questions, let me know. Throw it in there and we'll see what we can do with it. If not, we're going to cancel and go for tomorrow. But as a reminder, the screen handle for all my social media is JQK Law Firm. There's a lot of information going on all these different pages. I have different kind of stuff. And on TikTok, I'm Immigration Lawyer John. Please follow, like, and all that kind of stuff. I'm Sherry Khan. Ask, is immigration reform happening anytime soon? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I have no idea. Hiya John asks, my parents' case was not approved yet. I applied 1 year ago. Yeah, I mean, it could take a year, but I got to see what's going on with your case. If you did the paperwork right, maybe contact USCIS, see what happens. Go to case processing information on USCIS.gov to see if it's longer than what they're expecting, and you can contact them about that. User 580 asks, after work permit, how long it take for interview? Getting the work permit and the interview are completely unrelated from each other. They're two different things. So for the interview, you have to wait till you get a interview notice. My YouTube channel is JQK Law Firm. JQK Law Firm. If you click on the TikTok link that's above here, go to my website, and then I'll have all the links at the bottom, all my social media links you get. Zach asks, your initial consultation fee is too high, $400. Would you consider a reduction? My actual consultation fee is actually more than $400 for some types of cases, but just it depends on what your case type is. And it is what it is. I'd probably give you a discount if I said $400. Sometimes with half an hour consultation, if it requires less time, it should be $250. But if I told you $400, I probably meant $500, but I gave you a discount. So sorry, I just have so many people asking for my time. I have to differentiate somehow. That's just what I got to do. But thanks for trying. User 580, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Fami asks, my wife is a U.S. citizen. How long it take to case to Europe? I can't answer a case about how long. As you know, there's a coronavirus right now that shut everything down, so that's not up to me. At least a year more, but you just got to get the case started and deal with it as it is and be patient. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I think we got a couple minutes if you want to throw in some last questions in there. But it was fun, some good questions. And as always, yeah, go to the Instagram page, user page, all that kind of stuff, and follow, join, all the kind of stuff you have to say to grow your audience, please do all of that. I would be appreciated to hear more from you. Let your friends know that I'm here to answer questions as long as this group is going, and so it's just people joining. I appreciate that. For those people joining new, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. I practice immigration law. I handle cases from across the world. I can handle cases in Florida, New York, LA, California, all that kind of stuff. It's not a big deal. And I do primarily, marriage cases or fiancé visa cases and people starting businesses in the United States. Family asks, my case documentarily approved. They got to schedule an interview, family. That's it. I told you already. It's just you got to wait. Elevator Guy, thanks again. Have a great weekend. You too, Elevator Guy. Thank you so much. It's been a long week. I've done a lot of work this week, so I'm exhausted. But I got a lot of more work on the weekend. No days off for me. I just wake up and then have kids to deal with, running around, all this kind of stuff. It's fun with the kids, but it's a lot of work. You're welcome, Faith. I guess many of you know how that is. When I was a kid, I didn't realize how much work I was for my parents. So I guess we have to be really appreciative when these Mother Days and Father's Days come, because it is a lot of work being a parent, but it's nice kind of work. All right, everybody. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. You all have a great weekend. Thank you, family. I'm sorry I couldn't be more specific. It's just I don't know the answer. No one knows the answer. You just have to be patient. But I appreciate the kind words and appreciate you coming on again. Until next one, y'all, God bless. Be safe, and I hope to see you guys on Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific. See you then. Bye-bye.